Welcome to the WellPlayed DLC podcast, Australia's juiciest gaming podcast powered by SteelSeries, but more on that later. I am Zach Jackson. Joining me is James Wood,
Howdy, gamers.
Adam Ryan,
Hello.
and Nathan Hennessy.
Hey, yo.
Hey, oh.
That was almost the Freo Doctor song, if you're an AFL fan.
Don't ruin it.
Hey, oh,
That's-
way to go. Anyway, how
I've
are we?
never heard that.
You've
Great.
never heard it?
No,
No.
better for hearing an AFL anthem. That's for sure. I'd
Absolutely.
like, so the Tasmania's getting a team, right? We covered that last week. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd
we
like the anthem to be like a fucking rock or like a punk song. Buck the trend, I say.
Hmm.
It doesn't need to be this old, like, sounds like men in their 70s chanting. Make a
the
punk song.
Australian Gregorian chant.
Is there any
That's awful.
famous Tassie bands?
No.
Okay.
Mm.
Luca Brasi would be probably.
Get
The
Courtney
clothes we have.
Barnett to come up with a melody for us.
Hey,
Oh,
I would then attend AFL matches.
Bit of Hobart royalty.
But it's only, you'd only
She from
hear it
Hobart?
if they
Yeah,
won.
bro. Well, she's from Hobart, but now she lives like down the road from me.
No shit.
What a world, hey?
What
Hmm.
a world, hey? Welcome back this week. James, how's South Australia? How's Adelaide going, mate? Is it still hot?
No. It's we've I guess moved into autumn. It's kind of cool now. Sun's still warm, but air is cold. Leaves are falling. It's all going to shit.
Incorporate that.
Yeah.
Mm. Very good.
How's Melbourne's weather?
I don't
Yeah.
think Zach's been outside, has he?
No, I look like a bit of a hobo, don't I?
There are windows. He can see
That's-
outside.
yeah.
I basically bed, car, building, car, bed.
Yeah, thought so. The grind.
Fuck yeah. I had a question, but I completely forgot what it was now. But Adam, how's Tassie? How's getting ready for US of motherfucking A?
Yeah, mate, it's good. I got screwed out of a couple $100 trying to get my travel visa. That was fun, but that's on me. Otherwise, yeah, good. 2 days from now, I'll be jet setting.
Didn't
Can
realize
I-
get
Wow.
visas to go to America.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you have to do like an online travel visa thing, and you should just do it through the US government website. But if you're a fuckhead like I am, you'll go through what looks to be the US government website, but it's a broker who
Oh.
do fuck all but charge you an extra like $65 US. So that was fun.
It's a video
But
game.
they'll let me in the country though, so I mean
Are you sure
swings
about
and
that?
roundabouts, I guess. Well, with the mullet, I'm actually a little concerned.
Mm. What's the plans for
Mhm.
the flight? What are you gonna wear? Talk
Track
us through the trip.
pants.
Track
Yeah, of
pants,
course.
Track
track
pants is
pants.
the you've got to. I bought this.
Mate,
Turn up to
it's
the
like a
airport.
neck.
It's the only
trackies.
chance of getting a hand job on the airplane.
Yeah. You got to set yourself up for success. I bought a neck
Yeah,
pillow
James.
that's like.
Um.
Nah, I'm lost.
Great neck
You know.
pillows though. They're great.
Well,
But
you
it's
don't
like
like
a wrapper. It's like a
track
fuck
pants?
off. It's like a wraparound thing that has like
Okay.
a little hinge, so you just kind of sit and I don't know. It's weird.
Well,
It's called a turtle.
Yeah, because it's meant to not let your head
Yeah.
do the bob forward either, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I notoriously cannot sleep on planes, so I'm kind of happy to try anything. So
Hmm.
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. With that
It's a
and a
lengthy
bit of help, maybe I will. Who knows? Who knows?
Good man.
Mm.
What's going to be the in-flight entertainment?
Well, Netflix has fucked me a little bit because you can download shit to watch, right? You can download and you don't need an internet connection. So I wanted to just smash out like 60 or 70 episodes of One Piece, but now
Yeah, you
watching
do.
on Crunchyroll,
They
can't do
don't
it.
download because they're
They
far.
don't download. So I
Mhm.
guess I just sit and look at the back of the next person's seat. I don't
I
know.
imagine
Nah,
there'll be a screen on that.
yeah, there will, but I'll turn it off. I had a thought the other day about who develops the shitty little games that go on like in-flight entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
I
Yep.
want
Yep.
that
my life
question
question.
answered. No,
Mhm.
because you fucking wouldn't. But they're made, they're put
The-
into a plane.
The
Mm.
pool one is fine. I could
It's
play it.
fine.
You know, I played it for a solid 30 minutes of a 14-hour flight. You know,
See, it, every bit counts
Exactly
when you're
right.
sitting
That's
on a big metal tube. So
I agree.
30 minutes is not bad. But yeah, I will look into that because
Hmm.
I would like to know.
Yeah.
Question without notice here, but what is an old
From you?
game from me? What is an older game that you think would suit the back of an airplane seat or the in-flight entertainment? Like what's an old game that you would love
Star
to
Wars
just?
Rogue Squadron.
Is that
You
gonna
fucking idiot.
is that gonna play?
Trying to play that with those fucking janky
Yeah,
ass
with
little
remote.
remotes.
Yeah.
I reckon something like an Altered Beast or something.
Yeah, like
Oh.
Super Nintendo games, right?
Side-scrolling beat 'em up would fucking bang. I reckon
Mhm.
I could get through a few hours of a flight with. Yeah. I very much agree.
Mm,
Golden Axe.
absolutely.
Oh, what a time.
Absolutely, mate. I'm just making money for these companies.
Sitting on the table.
That's it. It's right there. Anyway, Nathan, what about you?
Do you want my suggestion for this, or
Just anything. Just tell me about yourself. Tell me about your day.
bro?
Any
I've been
clowns?
shitting.
Oh,
No clowns. Just a lot of time on the toilet, son.
yeah.
Oh, see, I thought Zach cut you off and you were going to say something more than shitting, but that was the
No,
that was the
no,
whole
that's
thing.
that's the theme of my week. Yeah, absolutely.
The old
Uh,
chocolate shaving cream, eh?
Chocolate shaving cream. Why the? I don't get the application, mate. What the fuck? Why have you put that?
We
That's
have-
the image folks are going to take away from this podcast.
I hate that so much.
That's rough, bro.
This episode's is in the toilet already. Far out.
I don't know. How do we push on from that, mate? How do we
Easy.
squeeze that out?
Just pretend it never happened. Let's talk video games. Let's talk video games.
Let's do that. That could be
Has
refreshing.
anybody played anything very, very quickly they want to chat about before we go into the content? There's not much to talk about this week, but maybe you've all been dabbling.
It is the first birthday of Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Oh, shit.
This week. It just passed. And I
Happy
am
birthday.
going for the Platinum Trophy now.
That
So
makes
I've been
sense.
replaying it. That thing, fucking great. I stand by that
Mm.
10 so proudly. That game is still exceptional.
Good
It
10.
is. I
Mm.
can't believe that's been out a year. That is
Yeah, I know.
wild.
Yeah, it's very odd, isn't it?
Anybody else been playing anything?
I'm still just one turn a day on my Solium Inferno. I've got like 6 games running at the moment. The funny thing is about playing a turn a day, which obviously you can imagine is quite languid, but it's fine. Folks be missing their turns after a while. Like some of these games have been going for like, I don't know, like a few weeks now, and some of the games are like started off with 6 humans, now they're down to just 2 humans and 4 AI. And I'm hoping that just eventually I'll just win by default, just by pure persistence. And I need I'm kind of like looking forward to those 6 games to end and just uninstalling the game. It takes such a fucking impact on my mental health. Yeah, that brings out the beast in me, that game. And it's just soul crushing like none other.
Is that linked to the toilet?
Perhaps
when
you
you say
know
it
the
brings out the
mind gut
Like
connection.
a somatic shitting. Yeah.
Yeah, I would put money on that for sure.
Yeah, right.
Gonna have to hit up League Geeks about that one. I should be paying my medical bills.
Good luck with that.
Hmm.
Adam, have you been playing anything, my friend?
Helldivers, and that's it, mate. It's got me, and I
Yeah.
plan on moving on to. There's no point. I'll be away. I'll just keep playing Helldivers. Fuck it. Fuck the bugs. That's it. That's it for me. What about you? What have you been playing?
Nothing really. No time. Just
Oh.
a little bit of Pentiment. Only played like another half an hour. Didn't even move from like the scriptorium. It's just in there having a chat with old mate.
Oh man, you can spend some solid time in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that was it.
Nice.
Haven't done much of anything else, unfortunately. All right, let's get into the content. James, you want to kick us off with something stellar, perhaps?
It is actually pretty stellar, so I'm happy to report that. Stellar Blade has gotten a demo that is, I think, going to be available when this podcast goes up. I'm pretty sure it hits this Friday for the normals. Yeah, so
suck it, plebs.
That's it. This is a PS5 exclusive from Shift Up Studio. It was initially shown off as Project Eve as like a multi-platform thing, and then Sony swept in and picked it up. Meant to come out last year sometime, got delayed. Now we're finally here. Really, really like it. Third-person action game. Think very kind of Soulsy meets Devil May Cry-ish. Kind of a nice collision of those two things. Very fast, very parry based. There's like 3 different types of dodges you have to deploy, as well as your parry to get around certain attacks. All of this is like building up your kind of weird electric meter that you can do special attacks with. It's all kind of couched in like really opulent, really well designed science fiction trappings. Like humanity's been violently ejected from Earth by an alien race called the Natibas, and they have
Can you spell it for
effectively
me?
killed. I can Naytibas. Natibas.
T-Bits.
Yeah.
Rolls off the tongue.
It does. It really does. It's a
Shout-outs.
mouthful and a half. No. So these guys they're like weird, fleshy, buggy alien type things. They've kicked us off of Earth, but they're now mounting an assault on the last city on Earth, which is called Zion. And you play as Eve, which is all capitals, who is a member of kind of like an elite squadron of fighters who is dispatched from humanity's like star base to be like, hey, can you figure out what's going on Earth and maybe see if we can win back our place on the planet. The demo is really, really short, maybe like an hour tops-ish. It is going to carry over into the main game at least, but there isn't much to go on yet, other than some very impressive initial combat and some really fantastic cinematic work. But I really, really liked what I played. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what the full game has to offer. It's good. It's just I liked the look of this from the first time it was shown off. I wrote that stupid news article about how hot the twonk in the game is. Like, and I think with a lot of these things, like there's jiggle physics and very flashy cutscenes and yada yada. And I think there's a tendency to think, okay, is this all show and no meat? But there's real meat on this bone. The combat feels really, really good. So
Love a
Excellent.
bit of meat with my jiggle physics.
don't we all? Don't we all? Equal opportunity jiggle physics.
Amen.
Yeah.
Hope you brushed up on your biblical metaphors by the sounds of it.
Oh yeah, truly. Adam, Eve, and the apples. Whatever.
And then near bus, fucking
Yeah.
Amen.
Natibas.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
what the fuck's my question? When does this game have a release date?
Yep.
April
April
Oh.
26th.
Oh, right, so it's close.
Yeah,
That's around the corner.
It is
right.
right around the corner.
I think it's
About a
probably
month.
what I'm looking forward to most in April.
Yeah.
Just a quick question. So
course.
obviously Rise of the Ronin last week came out, and now I don't know who I was listening to. Obviously it wasn't this podcast, but it was a different podcast. That wasn't actually meant to be a sledge. But the thing I was listening to was saying that they really like the combat, which I don't think.
In Rise of the Ronin.
Yeah. Who the fuck
Oh.
was it? Oh, it might have been kind of
No,
funny.
like it's
Not
fine.
bad.
It's fine. Like it's not bad. It's just not.
No, I think
It's
it was,
not
I think it
Stellar
was
Blade.
kind of funny. I think. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the question. Out of those two, because you were talking about parrying Souls, like I kind of got those
Yeah,
vibes a little
yeah.
bit from Ronin.
Yeah, it is hard to tell. I mean, an hour with a game, and I think there's like 2 bosses in there. There is like a boss rush mode you can do at the end where you get like a fully upgraded skill tree to fuck around with, which is really great.
Oh.
But it is hard to tell balancing over the long term when you've only got an hour of gameplay, right? And these games live and die on how well balanced they are. I found the parry to be a little loose for my personal taste, but other than that, I think the combat felt really tight. There was also a little bit of like Last of Us-esque exploration of dystopian cityscapes. So you can swim and you can dive and you can find like treasure chests at the bottom of water and stuff. I was like, that's fine. But then to get to a ladder, you had to like push a crate in some water so you could climb up onto it and climb onto the ladder. And
Now,
it was
where have we
just,
seen that before?
it was bad. It just did not feel very good at all. I don't quite know why it's in there. There's a scissor reel at the end of the demo that everyone will see once they get there, which shows a lot of like very fast paced sliding movement, which looks really cool. But in the slower stuff, while just moving through a city, whatever, it's fine.
Mm. Cool.
Mm.
Very good. Well, you can check out James's preview up on the website now.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Yep. All right, the big boy, the big dog that we talked about a little bit last week. We've got a little bit more to
Big
share
Dogma.
this week before final impressions maybe the week later, question mark? Yep.
Yeah.
So Nathan, you've spent a good chunk of time playing that. And James, you've also been playing that? I nearly went for another toilet joke, but didn't.
Be my guest.
Be my guest house? No, that doesn't work. Anyway, Nathan, please share your updated thoughts on Dragon's Dogma 2.
All right. I guess maybe we'll kick it a bit roundtable here. So Dragon's Dogma 2, I've finished. I've loved it. It's been quite a high of a ride. So now I've got to kind of come down off that high and really like think about what it was that I loved and the little things that are the rough edges. There are definitely rough edges here. But in talking about them critically, I need to frame them as though they are splitting hairs because in reality, they did not really affect my experience. And in fact, that's maybe a good place to start because it is at least in my experience, it's such a minor component of the experience. So actually, no, best start with the story. Hey, that's probably the organic place to start. Dragon's Dogma 2, so I guess you could view this as a sequel to Dragon's Dogma, where this sits in relation to the first game. It's a little bit murky because this is a world that exists or has like various parallel worlds. So there's like multi-universe theory is applied here, whatever. But ostensibly, you start off as the Arisen. So the Arisen is just a person who, regardless of their age, at some point they've performed a heroic feat in the presence of the dragon, and the dragon is almost this godlike presence over the world of. I can't even think. It starts with a V. I always get confused with the main city.
Verdun.
Verdun.
That did not help. I
Something like
apologize.
that. Yeah, right. So anyway, your player character who you make at the start, as I said last week, I really, really enjoy the character creator, especially for someone who doesn't like to get sucked into the minutiae. It strikes a really nice balance. For instance, as you're like choosing facial presets, it gives you a big book of facial presets to choose from. You like select one, you're like, yeah, I like that, and then it'll generate a whole bunch of others around that as well. So it kind of allows you to have a few choices of like meta picks before you get something you like. If you don't like diving into the minutiae, which I kind of don't, that's great for those that do. So it strikes a nice balance for those that like to really get into the nitty gritty and those that just want to get into the action and still feel like you've made your own character. And then it kind of fast forwards a little bit, and our character being, they're an adult, they've kind of found themselves in a skirmish. The dragon has arrived. And although the dragon kind of decimates the battlefield, you're the one resilient person that's able to hack at its talons. And of course, you do no damage to it. It goes, oh, we've got a wily one here. Puts you down, smacks you around, and then ritualistically scoops out your heart with its talon, eats it, goes, you're the chosen arisen, and then fucks off. Then begins your hero's journey. So the hero's journey begins at such a point where this person's heart has been consumed by a dragon, which should kill any normal person, effectively grants them a kind of immortality. And they're now set upon this kind of prophecy that requires them to go about their life until eventually they will then face the dragon in mortal combat. And typically how this story goes is the human that was ordained almost always dies, and the cycle renews. The next person gets picked, or they lose their will to fight. They're too chicken shit, and then they, by some reason, they're able to renounce their claim as the Arisen. Dragon's Dogma 2 spices that up a little bit, so that is effectively still the same story as the first game. It's spiced up a little bit in the second, where there's this extra little prophecy around the Arisen, where in this version of the world, they are also anointed as a sovereign. and this means that they're effectively because they've been deemed the Arisen, they're also effectively the ruler of this world, just by chance. These are the kind of two stories that kind of run in parallel in the game. Unfortunately, one definitely takes precedent over the other, and I won't say which is which, but one kind of fizzles away, and I was like, oh, well, that's a shame. And then the game kind of just starts. We're dumped into the world and meet a couple of characters. There's only maybe a handful of main NPCs that'll give you a semblance of a story, but the game doesn't try too hard to move you in one direction, which is fantastic because this is a game that I, in my experience, kept comparing to Skyrim, even though the first game came out within like a month of Skyrim, just coincidentally. But it has that same kind of design pillar of discovery where it's just constantly pulling you off the beaten path and giving you your own sense of adventure in doing so. And so little of this adventure is set upon by checklists or hard done by objectives. It's very organic in how it pulls you across its world. James, what do you go for with your class? Like, what kind of character have you put into this world?
Yeah, I started with a mage. No, mage. Yeah, the mage. Because the sorcerer is the more offensive one you get later.
Correct.
I was having combat wasn't my favorite part of the game while I was playing as a mage. I felt very inept in terms of damage output and my contributions to any given engagement that you're in. I think we touched on this last week, but like you have a party of pawns who are, you know, mystical slaves in a sense, but not in like a creepy way. It's an odd thing. Anyway, we can get to the pawns a bit later. But like,
Contextualizes it entirely
yeah.
within this game.
Yeah, like,
Weirdly.
but these guys were doing a lot of the damage and surviving the battles, and I was just constantly getting beat up and tossed around. So I caved and I finally Googled something, and I went and became a what's the spinny blade magic boy?
Oh,
The
the Mystic Spearblade.
Yes, Mystic Spearblade. And it revolutionized the game for me. I am loving combat now. I'm having a really tremendous time. Still get a bit of my magic. I eventually want to move into the magic archer once I get to the necessary region to deal with that. But yeah, at the moment I am just dicking around, flipping with my little pole arm, throwing people off of cliffs with my force push. It's just a fun, immersive time.
Yeah, so 2 points there. So as I mentioned last week, although you are the hero, you're also a part of this team of adventurers. There's 4 of you in total. You're complemented by 3 pawns. Pawns are, as we said, these kind of magical slaves. They're a weird element to this game because they try and put a lot of story around them. They exist in all of the various worlds of Dragon's Dogma, all of the, I don't know, parallel universes, and they have the ability to travel between them. In gameplay terms, this means both your pawn and other people's pawns are going to be moving between different worlds. Like when you go and sleep at night, your pawn doesn't sleep, it just fucks off to some other person's game and helps them out with whatever they're doing, then comes back in the morning, goes, "Hello, Arisen, I've been off on a journey," and gives you a few trinkets that they picked up from the other player, and that's really cool. And also the game really incentivizes. Yeah, what?
Was that a Scottish accent?
No, Jamaican. And then you're able to pull other players' pawns. So, and pawns are always player made, so you'll be able to pull pawns from other players and bring them in. And it heavily incentivizes you to always be rotating out that roster. So, and each of these pawns, because they're designed by that player, they're also equipped by that player. Their skills are built by that player. So they're always going to lend a different flavor to combat. But also, you aren't overpowered as the hero. You're about as strong as your pawn. So if you've got a character like a mage, like James was playing, the game is very much, although in typical open world action RPGs, you'd expect to just get front and center and jump in there. And that's not what this game's trying to train you for at all. I learnt this the hard way myself. I unlocked a class called the Trickster. The Trickster doesn't do any damage whatsoever. None. So you've got to absolutely come to terms with the fact that you're no longer the front and center of these fights. But what the Trickster does is really cool. They summon these kind of smoke effigies of themselves, kind of like a duplicate. And then what you do is you basically, or at least how I was playing, is you've got what do they call them? The fucking bowls that have the smoke and incense in them that are
Hmm.
associated with like classic Catholicism. Cisterns, no? I don't know.
Maybe
I know what
we
I
know
know
what
what
you're
you're
talking
I
about.
know. Wait, what you're
Censers?
talking about, yeah.
Yeah, the big balls, and you'll be like swinging this thing around and like flinging your incense at enemies, and then they like get overwhelmed by the smoke and decide that the only person that they want to fight in any given combat is your smoke effigy. So you end up just running around combat, just constantly resummoning your smoke effigy while you got a big pack of goblins chasing it. And of course, while they're chasing that, the rest of your team is damaging them from behind. It's really cool, and you can do some funny things with it, like summon platforms made of smoke, and you'll like set it out on a ravine and put your little smoke effigy on it, and all of a sudden you've got goblins just running off a cliff because they don't realize that platform is not actually a platform. I think the thing that I most enjoyed about it is I unlocked a very special skill. Not all skills are just given to you by courtesy of the fact you've picked a class. Some of them you've got to find out in the world. Some of them you've got to talk to special people. I found one that basically summons a big smoke dragon, and that was like a get out of jail free card. I could just summon that motherfucker in any fight, and all of a sudden all the enemies just piss themselves. They start running, and because they're running with so much fear, they're like tripping over each other and stuff like that. They basically just fall apart. So that's kind of what I mean by saying that it's not necessarily about your hero's journey means you're going to be the most powerful person in your party. Quite often it's beneficial not to be. And the AI is so robust and dynamic that they'll just get involved. If you've got like some thieves or soldiers and you're going against a big like cyclops or something, you just distract the cyclops, they'll climb up its body and start stabbing at its eye. And it's all brilliant. The AI here is definitely one of my favorite parts. It falls victim to some of the jagged edges. It's not perfect, but what it does do, it does really nicely in so much as it's quite dynamic. Not just your pawns, but also the characters in the world. As I said last time, they'll go about their own business. For the most part, sometimes you see them kind of like phase in and out of the game. Like they just kind of pop in and pop out, and that kind of ruins that immersion a little bit. But other times, like I've walked into bars, like taverns, and I've seen like somebody harass the tavern wench. So she just goes, "Nah, I've had enough of this," and they get into a fucking slap fight, just throwing tables and people out of the way and just going absolutely ham. Just all of these emergent moments that are so anecdotally rich just absolutely flood this game. I'm going to take a break. What about you, James? Have you seen anything that's really beset your interest here?
I was just thinking how difficult it is to talk and eventually will be to write about this game, because I've seen certain reviews that are like 4,000 words long and they still missed a bunch of stuff they wanted to talk about, right?
There is so much here.
Yeah, it's a shockingly dense experience. I think that immersion that you're talking about, like yeah, like NPCs phase in and out sometimes. Occasionally, the AI will do something a bit stupid, or that
Yeah.
there are the video game edges to this thing, right?
Yeah.
But what I take away from it every time I sit down to play it is just how easily it lets you sink into. I saw one reviewer call it the platonic ideal of a fantasy RPG. Like you just do it, like it happens to you, you're happening to the world. It's really difficult to explain the emotional sort of tether that Dragon's Dogma creates with you, because so much of its systems are so explicitly systemy and so video gamey that you'd think it wouldn't be immersive, and yet,
They
right,
never
like a
get in the
lot of
way.
they never get in the way. And so many of my notes about this game are just the passage of time and picking flowers and fucking walking up a hill because I felt like it. Like it is like, yes, you're killing dragons and you're slaying monsters and you're doing quests where you're the sovereign of a nation and all that crap, but you're also just getting to inhabit a cool fantasy world that reacts to your presence in a very organic way. It's a remarkable game.
And this is something, I think the thing that kind of tugs at my heart the most here is we've seen very little of this kind of ambitious player driven design in the past 10 years. Like since the last Dragon's Dogma came out,
Yeah.
I'm at a loss to think of an open world action RPG that has come close to this. We've become so familiar with the Ubisoft patent formula of open worlds where you've got places to liberate, things to pick up, things to gather. That's not really here in that sense. Like the game will surprise you if there is a place to liberate. Nothing in the game is going to tell you that was a place to liberate. There was no way to discover map, like icons on your map or anything like that. It's all about organic discovery, and the way the world reacts to you is so native in its execution. The thing I kept coming back to, the one game in the last 10 years that it kept evoking similarities to for me was Red Dead Redemption, where it kind of just sets you out in the world and the world's constantly dynamically responding to how you interact with it, and it's doing the same thing here, and it's fantastic. My biggest issues with it are not big issues, but they're issues nonetheless. The frame rate is obviously something people have been talking about. It's only really a big issue for me in cities, and I think everyone's going to have that experience. Can be a little bit of a bother in combat, but I never lost a combat. I never failed an encounter because the frame rate was being too much of an issue. That never happened. As I said, the story doesn't necessarily stick. The landing, rather, it's a really nice bookend. The way it sets it up at the start and the way it finishes off at the end is great, and everything that happens in between, you can kind of just dismiss. There's not many NPCs that you will have meaningful interactions with, and after a while, although every NPC's got its own name and you can flirt with it and give it flowers and form a relationship with it, and the relationship you form with an NPC will also affect how its family responds to you. This sounds great on paper. I couldn't find any meaningful example of it in my gameplay. It was just kind of there. I didn't get any rewards or anything for it, and there was another issue. I'm going to have a look at my document, which I don't have up. James, take over for me for a sec.
I occasionally struggle with the camera. So
The
there's
camera,
no
that's
lock
the
on.
big motherfucker. That is
Yeah.
number one issue. Absolutely. The moment you're in a narrow environment, a cave, for instance, and there's more than 2 enemies attacking you, that camera it simply doesn't react at all to small combat. What I mean there is anything that's not a big monster, the camera doesn't do anything. It's fully reliant on you, doesn't try and turn around or nothing. So what happens is you're constantly zipping about and enemies are very dynamically moving around. You've got to constantly be readjusting it. And if you're in a cave or something, you'll just be readjusting it into rocks. Like, so much of the combat, I'm just I cannot see anything. It's completely obscured. It's a big problem. That will cause a few combats to go a bit awry, and that's a shame. And that's definitely my number one criticism. Outside of that, there's like lip syncing is like comically bad, like just fucking terrible. But it's fine. Like, I don't think that that's necessarily immersion breaking. And those are all my issues with the game. So it's a tremendously good game. Yes, Mr. Adam.
Hello, Adam from WellPlayed here. Very, very quick question, and I can understand that you may not be able to answer it fully. For those who played, say, 40, 60, 80 hours of the original game, is there enough of a reason for those people to come back for minimum another 40 hours of Dragon's Dogma 2?
I assume those folks are sickos that are already just going to be pumped for this to begin with. Like, if you've spent that much time in Dragon's Dogma 1, it's the first half of the game, let's say, is effectively Dragon's Dogma 1.5. It's just a redux of everything you've seen before done better. It looks the same, so essentially going to play the same. Most of the classes are the same. It's just done better. And the thing is that formula is so good and so addictive, and the sense of adventure is so immersive that you're probably just going to surrender to it. It's also genius. I can't really talk. I'm kind of prohibited to talk about this, but everything you see in the first half of the game is so deliberate. The fact that fast travel is super limited, so you're going to end up legging at most places. The fact that most of your journeys are going to start with resting in an inn or a campfire, and they're going to end with resting in an inn or campfire because your health doesn't refill. Like, you'll take some damage, and that health meter is going to reduce. The longer you spend out in the wild, both you and your pawns are going to be a lot more vulnerable. So the game's always forcing you to have a kind of a start and an end place in mind for your adventuring. All that is kind of seems a bit idiosyncratic at first, kind of a bit counter to any other open world action RPG you've played, until you get to the back end of the game, which then I cannot talk about it in any detail, but turns all of that on its head, let's say, and basically demonstrates to me, both as a critic and a player, that anything that I thought was unusual, a little idiosyncratic, maybe a little clunky, was very precisely and deliberately implemented. Almost nothing about my experience in that first half of the game was accidental, and just gave me such a huge admiration for the design ethos and all the talent that's gone into this. Just this is an open world design of adventuring that other developers need to take note of. As you know, since Skyrim, right, Bethesda's brought out a bunch of RPGs, and they've gotten further away from that sort of organic sense of adventure.
Mhm.
Dragon's Dogma has had over 10 years now, and it's basically just gone, we got the formula right the first time, that's fine. There's a bit of clunkiness, we'll fix that. But it's so confident in itself, and I was just enraptured from start to finish.
I'm intrigued.
How user friendly is it for players who just want to have never played the first one but just want to kick it for the first time?
It's still going to be a bit of a learning experience because it's going to require you to unlearn a lot of what you expect from open world action RPGs. For instance, as I said, you might be on the hero's journey, but you are not living a power fantasy. Not really. I mean, you'll get there eventually, but for the most part, if you get into a combat and you get messed up, like when James was playing a mage, that's going to significantly put him back. Like, it's by that point, he's got to consider to himself, do I just go back to town and just restart this little journey? Like, if I push on, I'm at such a disadvantage. So you're going to have new players coming up against walls like that, where they go into combat, they're gung-ho, take a lot of damage, and then they check their inventory. They're like, why are my healing potions not healing my health? They're just healing a small portion. It just caps off. Like, they're going to constantly be coming against these walls that it might frustrate them. And it definitely required me to put down my guard and go, okay, what's, just indulge the experience before it clicked. So I do think that initially there is actually probably quite a high barrier for entry, particularly if you've come from playing your Bethesda RPGs and your Ubisoft open worlds. Like, this is really going to strip you back to brass tacks and make you feel like a very small part of a very big world, and that's intimidating.
It is. I think you brought up Red Dead Redemption 2 earlier. I think games like Red Dead 2, Breath of the Wild, and probably Elden Ring are your kind of pivot points for open world design.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Dragon's Dogma 2 makes those even what players considered at the time to be abrasive about those simulations. Those are very comfortable games compared to what Dragon's Dogma 2 I think requires of the player. Like Elden Ring is a cakewalk by comparison, not in terms of raw combat difficulty, just in terms of Elden Ring wants you to experience the power fantasy and capital F fantasy in that regard. Dragon's Dogma 2, I think, will get you there as well. But again, it's just more about it just wants you to inhabit this space and really fucking inhabit that space. I really have not seen much like it.
Yeah, like by the time I finished the game, I immediately went back in and realized there are entire civilizations and communities and stuff that I hadn't uncovered, and entire monster types, entire biomes that, even though I'd gone off the beaten path of plenty, had not even touched. Like, and yet my experience did not feel at a loss for having not experienced them. My experience was total. Now I'm just hungry to have a different experience in that world. And it's like, do I do it now? Do I wait for? Maybe I should wait for a little bit more patching in that, because there again, some of those rough edges I think will be smoothed, but none of them are going to heavily detract from the experience.
There you go. Dragon's Dogma 2, eh?
That's Dragon's Dogma.
Dragon's Dogma 2, baby. Alrighty. Stuff.
Yeah, I could wax lyrical on this one for a while. It's consuming
very easily.
Oh, I gathered. No, it's good. It's
It was
very
patient of you there, Zach.
Now, look, clearly you loved it. It's great to hear, and great for the team. Because was this a successful first release? I always got the impression that it wasn't like a monster hit.
Well, Dragon's Dogma released within a month of Dark Souls and Skyrim, right?
Yeah.
So no,
that says enough, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Nathan said earlier, the people that it found, it really connected with, and then when they did the Dark Arisen re-release, I think that helped push it back into the zeitgeist a little bit more.
Sure.
But there's a reason I think it took 8 years to get this game. Like, this is a bizarre big swing for Capcom to have made. I'm very glad it's here.
Yeah, this is wild for Capcom, and it's broken their Steam player numbers. Most sold or most played Capcom single player release.
200,000 concurrents in a single player game.
Sick. That's
good
awesome.
on 'em.
Just made me think of what you said last week, James, just about Rise of the Ronin, about how that would be a good first draft. Let's see what
Yeah.
they can do with the second one. And it's good that
Mhm.
even if games don't sort of set the world on fire the first time, that some publishers are still willing to kind of invest and, try for a second time or third time, I guess, in this case.
Agreed.
Very good. The last question, I know we've spoken for ages on Dragon's Dogma, but we've got to address the elephant in the room here, and that's the microtransactions that have seemingly... This is a very Capcom thing to do. They do this quite a bit. They...
all the time. Yep.
And I feel like they kind of get away with it to a certain degree because their games are good and people love them. But if this was EA or if this was Activision, let's say, they'd be absolutely roasted. So if you don't know, basically when the reviews dropped, after the reviews dropped and the game came out a couple of days later, all these DLC microtransactions popped up on the game's store. What are your thoughts? For two people that have played it, what are your thoughts on that?
I definitely have pretty clear and concise thoughts. How do you feel, James?
I think there's a reason it didn't come up in the review coverage, right? This is outlined in the review doc, and they were probably outlined in the RE4 review doc as well when they did it to that game. And it's a Capcom staple at this point that they do this. I think that broadly it is a scummy practice. I think no matter the publisher or quality of the game, it's a shitty thing to do. I also think these games are complete experiences that don't push or require these transactions, and so I think that's why they skate by a little bit more, I think, and get little bit less attention, because there's nothing in Dragon's Dogma 2 or Resident Evil 4 for that matter, or Monster Hunter World or whatever it is, that pushes you or makes you feel as if you need to buy these things. And I think Assassin's Creed, what is it, Odyssey or whatever, one of those recent ones, is a great example of a game where you obviously hit a progression wall towards the back end of those games, and then when Ubisoft is selling experience boosters, it becomes more of a hey, what happened here? Whereas this to me strikes me as a publisher versus developer split on these transactions getting added.
Yeah, so just for context here, the microtransactions specifically that they've added, let's just be general here and say 90% of them are items, like gear or whatever they might be. Not gear, but they're items, and then some of them are a currency, and one of them is also the ability to customize your pawn's features. Basically go back into the character customization, right? So that's what we're looking at. At no point, so nowhere in the game is there any mention of any of that you can buy any of this externally. You have to specifically go through the whatever platform you're on, the store, like the PlayStation Store or whatever. But then the funny thing is those items I mentioned, the 90% of those items, they're all tutorial items. You're going to get all of those just naturally in the first 6 or so hours of the game just by playing the game, and they're all, because they're tutorial items, they're all redundant as well. You're going to get them, you'll use them, and then a couple of hours later they're redundant. You've got the next big thing. That's fine. So there's no rational sense to me as to why anyone would buy them unless they thought they were missing something because they just hadn't played the game. Then there's the character customizer. This is probably the worst one, because the game, you can buy the ability to change your pawn in game, but it's limited. The vendor that sells them at a limited. Now Capcom's come out with a statement, I think yesterday, just saying in a future patch we're going to make the cap on that item 99. So basically infinite, because there's no way you're changing that character 99 times. Then the last one is the currency. Now the currency is what you use to summon pawns, and the funny thing about pawns is all pawns that are your level or lower are free. The only pawns that you can buy that have a cost are character-made pawns that are a higher level than your main character. And even then, most of the time, we're talking about pennies. They're so cheap, it's laughable. If you were to buy that currency, you're looking to buy characters that are 10, 15, 20 times levels higher than you. That basically, by that point, if you're buying that currency, you're not really playing the game. So It's not really pay to win, and none of it is empowering your character specifically. The closest I could come with is this one that lets you buy over-leveled characters to join your party and then just let the AI do the work. But even then, even a character that's 20 levels above you is still frail in this world. It's not going to be able to 1v1 your boss monsters and stuff like that. So it definitely reeks of corporate involvement after the fact.
What there was the fast travel one?
So that's not actually a fast travel one. I
Okay,
want to make that clear because that's been driving me insane. People going, you have to pay for the fast travel? No, you fucking don't. So first off, that item doesn't let you fast travel. So I just need to make that clear because I've read so many articles saying that item lets you fast travel. It does not let you fast travel. Fast travel is a completely different item. What it does let you do is it allows you to put a custom location in the map that you can fast travel to. And the game gives you these for free.
Shout out.
That one's been driving me mental because that's probably been the one that people have been probably ragging on the most. And I'm like, you motherfuckers haven't played the game. Like,
yeah.
There's
a weird amount of disinformation about the microtransactions here that was
absolutely a lot of disinformation. I've had mates coming up to
Oh, sorry, go on.
Just I've had to correct a bunch of mates that have been up. I'm not buying this game because of this. I'm like, bro, calm down for a second. Let me talk to you.
It's a natural response, right? I think the microtransactions are generally a plague on the industry, and I agree that like broadly they should be met with a massive middle finger. It's just it's one of those things where I think that the stages of capitalism that we're collectively at versus what we think should be happening in the art form have obviously split up 10 years ago. So it's like, I don't blame people for being disappointed and mad at this. But I also think that, it's a tremendous game that doesn't require these purchases. So like it's a just don't look kind of moment. While also acknowledging that these transactions are not necessarily in there to fool people who just don't look. So
like, as I said, 90% of those items, at no point in the game would you ever consider, I might go into the store and get them. They're almost as an idiot detector. Like if you've bought them, it's kind of Capcom going like shame on shame on you, right? You've bought them before having even like played the first few hours of the game, in which we give them to you for free and then you throw them in the bin an hour later anyway.
I thought the RE4 ones were worse with what they offered the player, because they offered real things that it takes a while to grind in that game. So,
which is definitely not the case here. Yeah,
no.
Nice. Well, shout out to Cashcom, but we will move on.
How long were you sitting there with that? You
2
smug
minutes.
little fuck.
Like 2 minutes, actually.
40 minutes.
So casual too.
No,
Congratulations.
I wasn't.
Well done.
Thanks, mate. But speaking of the shout-outs, we've got a couple here to throw out, and that is Big Mark Isaacson. He's done 2 reviews. They're not written, but we've got a little sample of what's to come in those reviews. He's got MLB The Show 24. So if you like your baseball, listen in. He says, baseball may not have as big an international audience as its competition, but as video game adaptations go, MLB The Show continues an engaging and accessible rendition of the great American pastime that's worth exploring without the constant threat of microtransactions thwarting the fun. 8.5. That was
Nicely
not intentional.
done.
That's topical.
That was not intentional. He also
I've always wanted to get around these games because
Also-
every year MLB
yeah.
comes out and hits it out of the park.
Hey.
Well, batter up, mate, because if you step into my dugout, I might be able to pitch you.
Oh my god, calm down. Jesus. They're coming in thick and fast. Holy
Max on
shit.
fire.
All right. Last one is Open Roads. James is very excited for this game. This is
That's nothing for your puns. He says fuck your puns.
This is a little narrative-driven blah blah from Annapurna, and who's the dev again? Who's made this?
Oh.
They did
It's the former Fulbright team.
Fulbright.
isn't
That's
it?
it. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm back
Fulbright
on.
Sans the full C
Gaynor.
word. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mark says an engaging cast drives a short but ultimate sweet journey down an emotional road. Though the chance to spend more time with Tess and Opal Divine would have been welcome. He's going to give that either 7.5 or an 8, but we'll wait for the final score on that one. Very exciting. Good stuff. All right, let's
Would you,
No.
very quickly before you throw to the ad, would you believe that your mate and mine, James, right, reviewed MLB The Show 2020 with the subheader Slam Dunk?
Oh no.
Nice.
You reviewed the show. Is
Nice.
that on
It's on powerupgaming.com.
That's
That
great.
What a tag. What a
No, no,
fucking
guys.
Slam
tag. What a
dunk.
man.
Yep.
Slam dunk.
What'd you give that game?
I gave it, let me have a scroll on down. I gave that an 8.5 out of 10.
0.5, so it hasn't improved according to the scores.
Wait.
They've had
So,
4
so walk,
years.
walk this back a second. When we say our mate James, are we talking about you, mate?
Oh yeah, like I'm the mate, James.
Okay, I thought there was a euphemism there. Right. Okay, so you played a sport. You reviewed a sports title.
I did. I reviewed a sports title. Yeah.
Bless your cotton socks.
Oh, it was a nightmare.
I
A
can imagine.
nightmare with an 8.5 attached. You
Oh
love
well, look,
that.
like the game was good. I'm just not good at these things.
Oh, me too. Yeah,
Yeah.
just a curiosity is all.
Unless
Yes.
it's footy bash. Fucking get around it.
That's it.
Oath. All right. Let's jump to the break. Ash has got some commentary he wants to share with us about our sponsors, SteelSeries.
Ooh.
SteelSeries is renowned for its innovative and award-winning products that elevate your gaming performance and experience, and the new range of Alias microphones are no exception. Alias microphones feature a capsule that is 3 times larger than most microphones on the market, giving your recording richer and deeper audio. And with the free-to-use Sonar software, AI-enhanced noise cancellation eliminates the background noise that other cardioid microphones will capture. With Sonar, SteelSeries has tailor-made an audio suite that offers the complete solution for content creators who want to manage their EQ levels, personal and stream mix, and it works seamlessly with programs such as OBS and many, many more. Available now, Alias microphones and Sonar features everything you need to take your content creation to the next level.
Alrighty, thank you very much once again, Mr. Whaling, and shout out to SteelSeries sponsoring the WellPlayed DLC podcast. Our mate Jim Jam James, he is about to tackle the news.
Oh yeah, look, short and sweet this week. You know, we're gonna get in, we're gonna get out. It's gonna be fantastic. Based on what I was kind of having a browse around, it seems like GTA 6 might slip to 2026, with the developers citing people's lack of wanting to return to the office as like oh well, I guess then the game's just not going to be ready. Whoopsie doopsie,
that
which
right?
is really scummy. I can't quite get around that. The other thing that happened with GTA 6 this week is that what is it? Digital Foundry founder Rich Ledbetter, there you go, has said that the reported PS5 Pro's CPU not improving from the base one would mean that GTA 6 is only going to run at 30 FPS anyway, and it sparked a bunch of conversations like we were having last week about, if these Pro systems won't even be able to do 60 FPS 4K, then what are we doing? Why do we need that upgrade at the moment? Yeah, a bit of a one for GTA 6 this week. Anyone got any thoughts?
I wouldn't be surprised if it slipped to 2026. I think that just seems natural, just given how big that game is. The return to office thing, I don't know. Can't comment.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I think they spoke to Aftermath and Bloomberg. I think that there's been multiple sort of reports floating around about Rockstar's desire to bring everybody back indoors. And you know, like with the leak that happened and everything, I kind of get the bullishness around it, but it's also like adapt, move beyond. You know, I think you're probably gonna like some of the best made games of the past few years were done from work from home studios. So yeah.
So no, I wonder if nah, not the time, not the place.
No. Capcom was also in the news. It was awarded Metacritic's Publisher of the Year for 2023 with a Metacritic average of like 86. I think was the highest of all the big boys that were in the running. You know, they're doing great at the moment. I know, like obviously Dragon's Dogma 2, we've had a bit of a gush about tonight, but like RE4, Monster Hunter's doing great. It just seems like it's Capcom's world at the moment, and I think it's nice to see the turnaround on a lot of these franchises.
The only thing that I will say against Capcom is they, to a certain degree, I think they play it pretty safe. They don't. It's RE. It's Monster Hunter. It's fucking those other games that you animate.
Like sequels is
I
what
would
you're
agree
saying.
with you until Dragon's Dogma. That doesn't feel like a safe game.
No, but you know,
otherwise, absolutely.
That's like a one. You know, that's that. There's your risk.
That's their one exception.
Where's your fucking new shit. Like where's the new games that they're doing? I mean,
That's
they've
right.
got fucking they've got
It was Exoprimal. Get your shit in order, mate.
oh,
Come
mate,
on.
that
Oh,
was
he's
that was
right. I
did
always going to
forget
be
about
shit
that.
though. Actually, to be fair, they
I
are
mean, the
taking
people
risks.
that like that game seem to be really high on it. So
Exoprimal, fucking Resident Evil. What's that multiplayer one? They always stink. Like
You love Dino Crisis. You should love
Yeah, I was about to say
Exoprimal.
he's
It's like the
whinging
same
now, but
thing.
wait till
that's
they
what I mean.
announce
Where's the
Dino
fucking
Crisis.
Dino
He's
Crisis
back
remake?
in.
Where's the new one?
I know.
Where's
That's all you're
Onimusha?
complaining
Where's that?
about.
Where's the new fucking?
All
where
I'm-
is Onimusha? I'll give
Yeah,
you
that hurts me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch the animated show or whatever the fuck it was. Was
probably-
it animated or was it live
No,
action?
no, thank you.
It was an
I don't need a
anime. It
Netflix
was-
anime in my life.
It was okay.
I think
Mm.
it
If
would
they
be
did a
bad,
Gundam crossover, would you watch it?
Shit.
It'd be a bad time, I think, if they did Onimusha, given all the samurai stuff we've had in the last few years.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. Actually, Zach, bit of a curveball for you. I hope you're
Okay.
ready for
Ooh.
this one.
Of course.
Did you see the Resident Evil 9
New,
rumors?
yes, but remind
Yes.
me.
So apparently, this is a pretty established
this-
leaker.
Is
let's
this
say.
the Dusk Gold, mate?
Sure. Why not?
Oh, Dusk
Yep.
Golem
Yeah.
or whatever his
Yeah,
name is.
that
Yeah, I
sounds
know.
right. Yeah. Apparently, so the idea is that whenever Capcom is developing new technology internally, they tend to do it in threes. Is the
Yeah.
idea, and so Monster Hunter Wilds or whatever that new one is meant to be.
Yes. Yep.
Dragon's Dogma 2, both being examples of the RE engine being ported into an open world situation. The idea now being that Resident Evil 9, which I think has been rumored to be called Apocalypse for a while, which is not a great name for a Resident Evil game, is
Great
also
movie.
going open world.
Is it going to be
apparently,
open world or is it semi-open world? I thought I read semi-open world. Or,
might be
or
semi-open world.
Open world.
Open zone?
Open world. What's the right word for it? Not sensitivities.
Inspired?
Like
Oh,
yeah.
proclivities. whatever.
Sensibilities.
Whatever.
Thank you, Adam. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
What did I say?
Um,
Sensitivities. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Sensitivities.
apparently the idea is also that this person had spoken to someone who'd said that the idea is that it would retain the core identity of Resident Evil, though. That Capcom understands that you can't just make an open world Resident Evil game. It still needs to be a Resident Evil game first and foremost.
Mm.
And initially I rejected this idea because I was like, no, I don't want everything going open world. But then as I've been replaying RE4 and you get so many open zones in that game, a lot of free-flowing exploration, it's like I can kind of see where we're headed with all of this, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think Village is well, it's quite similar to RE4 remake in a sense.
Yeah,
it
it
is open but not.
Yeah.
It's still very guided, still very linear in I think its
Mhm.
direction a little bit. But it'd be
I
more
agree
like
with
a good comment that I read about this would be Evil Within 2.
Yeah, that's what I
yeah.
was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
if you've ever anyone,
Adam lit up like a Christmas tree down there.
Weirdly enough, that's the reason I don't want it to be
Okay.
open zone, open world, because I thoroughly
Like-
enjoyed Evil Within, the first Evil Within. It's janky as fuck, I get it. It's very linear,
Mhm.
but I enjoy it.
Mm.
Evil Within 2, I didn't like as much because of those
Oh.
open areas. I love the open
Interesting.
areas in the Resident Evil games, like within 4 and
Mm-hmm.
within Village. Love that. But there was something about the layout of those open areas in Evil Within 2 that just completely put me off.
Okay.
I think I'm someone who likes their horror games to be a little bit more linear. I don't
Mhm.
know. It's just like you can curate your scares a little bit better, I suppose. It's
Yeah.
not as open to, people just kind of stumbling upon things, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. That's just one man's opinion.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
would
RE5
love,
remake will go open zone.
I would love an open world
Ugh.
Raccoon
Safari.
City game of sorts.
See,
I
yeah.
don't want this.
Really?
Yeah, no. I think a city would be a really
Well, how do you
uninspired option.
What are you going to do it in then? If it's not
Small
a
European
city.
countryside yet again. No, like yeah, look, it would be difficult. I do actually think I kind of said it half as a joke, but like RE5 going open zone, I think would be an interesting choice because I think you could do a lot of fun things in Africa that aren't explicitly racist. So we'll have to cross those bridges when we come to them. Adam,
Hello.
speaking of video games, I'm sorry, Zach has something to say.
Oh no, I was just
No, he's
getting my.
adjusting his camera.
Oh, you were just slowly waving me off. Adam, talk to me about Captain America and Black Panther fighting each other.
Yeah, go on. This game looks like it could be kind of cool. So this is Skydance New Media's previously announced
Oh.
partnership with Marvel. So this is Amy Hennig's joint. She was the what was she? The creative director and writer, I believe, on at least Uncharted 2 and potentially 3. She
Mhm.
previously worked on the Uncharted games. That's the long and short of it. And it was announced quite some time ago that they would be working on a AAA Marvel game. It was then later revealed that it would have something to do with Black Panther and Captain America. It's kind of, we've been drip fed this information. And then recently at the State of Unreal showcase, we got a first trailer, which is about 2.5 minutes long, all cinematic, in engine though, which is impressive
That's
considering
encouraging.
the visuals are fucking wild. Like the facial animations, particularly for Black Panther, whoa, had me feeling things. But yeah, it's called Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. So it has 4 playable protagonists. It's obviously set in 1943 in occupied France for the most part, from what I can tell. So yes, you play as the boring man himself, Steve Rogers. You also play as a version of Black Panther, which is Azuri, which will be T'Challa's grandfather. So someone we see very, very infrequently. There will also be Gabriel Jones, who's a Howling Commando. He's an army man. And Nanali, who is a Wakandan spy who has been deep within the occupied France region for quite some time. This game sounds fucking cool. I think mainly because it has a setting that is not modern day superheroes that you see all of the time. Occupied France with super soldiers running around just speaks to me a little bit. It's something that we haven't really seen. Yeah, it's not what I was expecting, and I think that's why I'm excited for it. Obviously, we need to see a whole lot more than just a cinematic story trailer, but the skeleton is certainly there for a cool experience, and the trailer's fucking cool.
Cool.
There you go. There you
Well,
go.
I've got some quick fire news for you because James hasn't given me much time. All right, here we go. I got five in the bag for you.
Of course.
But it's
We
gonna,
discussed 2 of these
Don't
beforehand.
worry,
2 of
don't
them.
worry. It'll be quick. It'll be very quick. So very, very exciting for myself is that there's actually going to be a side-scrolling beat-'em-up game based on the Phantom. It is called, I don't know what it's called. Actually, it's just called the Phantom. There you go. And it's a little like comic-y drawn little side-scroller. It's got a story that's been approved by I can never remember the fucking people's name. People who own the comics, approved by King Features Syndicate. So that's pretty cool. Coming later this year to consoles and PC. More excitingly, there was some release dates that dropped. I don't know if you saw the Future Games Show Spring Showcase. That was the other day. There's some cool shit that landed in that. So one of our most anticipated games of the year in our little group article we had this year was one of mine, but I know that James is very, very keen, and that is Still Wakes the Deep. It's that little narrative-driven horror game that is set on an oil rig on the coast of Scotland. So that is coming on June 18 for that one. Coming to consoles and PC. Current gen consoles and PC. It's also coming to Game Pass for PC and Xbox day one. Check out the trailer if you want to get a little bit more like kind of narrative juices inside you, because that one kind of gives you.
This is the Chinese room one, yeah.
I was just wondering that.
Correct. Yeah, this is the Chinese room one. Amnesia Machine for Pigs. That's correct.
Yeah, and like
them.
What's your
No,
take on Machine for Pigs?
yes,
can't really remember.
Fine.
I hate all of you. Fuck off.
Okay.
What?
Didn't they do Dear Esther? I like that.
I need enthusiasm.
They did do Dear Esther.
Amnesia's been, it's fine. Like, Soma's always been. I know that they didn't do Soma, but Frictional Games did. Yeah, Soma's.
To be fair, I didn't finish A Machine for Pigs. I bounced in and out of that. I think maybe I was like, I'll play a bit of this, and then something else grabbed my attention.
One other game that was shown off in the Future Games fucking hell, this confuses me. Future Game Show Spring Showcase. It was a
Nailed
game
it.
that I've been hot on for like several years now, and eventually I will be able to shut the fuck up about it because it'll be finally out. That is Dustborn, coming August 20. All consoles and all, sorry, when I say all consoles, PS5, PS4, Series X, and Xbox One, and PC.
Adam's
it
doing
comes
what
on-
he does every time you mention Dustborn and quickly looking it up
Every
because
there's like
every
3 or
time.
4 games that my brain crosses wires.
Mm.
I know this one. It's it's that one.
colourful.
Yeah, so this is
stylized.
the road trip across America where you play as a undercover punk band, and you're transporting a package, and it's like where you can weaponize language. It's made by Red Thread Games. Yeah, so check that out if you want to. It's got a really cool, like, almost cel shaded-y. Well, I guess it is kind of cel shaded art style. There, that one's very, very neat. Another quick.
So they
little-
did. Sorry to keep interjecting. They did Drogan.
Draugen, which Big Dog gave a 9.5. Fucking love that game.
Yeah, I
Um,
understand why you're hyped for it now. Then
And they did
I get it.
Dreamfall chapters. If anyone's ever played Dreamfall
Ah,
chapters.
cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So they always kind of do very, very different stuff. Very, very quickly, Broken Roads has got a new release date of April 10, so that'll come out. You can check that out if you're keen on the Aussie RPG. But perhaps the most exciting news that we got at the Future Games Show Spring Showcase was the announcement of Tales of Iron 2 Whiskers of Winter. So if you don't know what Tales of Iron...
Sorry. That's a subtitle. Sorry.
So this is if you didn't play the original Tales of Iron, it's published by United Label and developed by Oddbug Studio, and it's I don't know, like not Retroidvania, that's the wrong word. It's like Rat Souls, like Rat, yeah. It's like a beautiful little hand-drawn art style. Anyway, they announced a new one, Tales of Iron 2, Whiskers of Winter, just to repeat that for James there, and it's coming later this year on consoles and PC. I fucking loved
Does
the
it still
first
have
one.
old mate doing the narration?
Does have big Geralt of Rivia Douglas
Ah.
Cockle doing the narration here.
Love it.
Yeah, and like that, they've absolutely loved that original. Like they have given that some big love. Like that game got a meaty expansion for free last year, or sorry, the beginning of this year. One of the two. Yeah,
Last.
end of last year, early this year, maybe I can't remember. But
Is this an Order 66 situation? No, not Order 66. Jesus. The
Kill them all.
the
I mean,
19.
it's getting a sequel,
80
so
18. Fuck, help me.
The Order 1886.
Thank you. Is this one of those situations where like you're going to be hounding on about a game for a while that I'll probably really like? I just need to, get over my disdain for the genre and check it out, or do
Don't be
you
a
think I
little
would
fu-
enjoy the first game?
It's definitely the most approachable of those 2D Souls likes.
Okay.
that
does
Oh
help.
shit! There's bats in this one,
and it's
I
actually
fucking love bats.
I mean, I didn't want.
right?
Okay, maybe we can talk about this one. I didn't want to speak for too long because I know that you hate me.
I mean,
James.
look,
We're here now.
exactly.
Well, Tales of Iron. If this, I don't know why this would make you feel, but it's got an 81% rating on Metacritic. Tales of Iron.
Did
does.
you review it?
I did. I gave it 9.5. I fucking loved it.
It was the
Okay.
one boosting the score.
Absolutely fucking loved it. And that's like
All right.
I haven't got the platinum. Did I? I did.
Oh,
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and that game was hard.
interesting.
Hard for me, but I fucking I love playing as a dirty rat, so get around me. But this one is
Play
set
Squad every day.
after the this is set after the events of the first game, and you play as another rat named Arlo, who's from the Northern Realms, and there's a fanged threat known the Dark Wings, Darkwing bats or something. Anyway,
Like Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
yes, like Darkwing Duck, but with a bat and wings. But yes. Anyway,
You're glossing over
okay.
the most important bit, which the main character Rat has a big like Viking beard. He's pretty great.
absolutely. How fucking good is he?
Oh, is this like Nordic inspired?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Ooh.
God of
the
War.
needle just moved.
Nah,
back
I
away
wouldn't
from his
say. I wouldn't
He's
say.
a big bearded rat that
Mate,
is
you wanted
mainly
to
white with red,
absolutely.
and he's got a big frost axe. Get the fuck off.
He will.
Play a machine for pigs.
Anyway, have a watch. You
All right,
should.
I will.
You should
I
play.
will. I'll have a look.
You probably get it cheap on Steam sale or something. Anyway, that's my 5 quick news pieces that turned into much longer than I was expecting.
Nice work.
How about
Cool.
that?
Off topics. James, you're up again.
Adam?
No, okay, no. Adam's got one question.
I have
No?
an off topic. An
Oh.
off topic. Hi, Adam from WellPlayed. I watched Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City.
Oh, after all this
okay.
time.
Is
Let's
that the one
talk.
with old mate from Skins?
Yeah, Mascaldero.
I never watched
Sure.
Skins, so I can't help you there.
Really? Classic.
But nah, never watched it.
Is this Leon who listens to Jennifer Page?
Yeah,
Mhm.
this is Leon done dirty.
Yeah.
Give me something that I can work with. I don't know what the fuck that means either.
What do you mean?
Um,
Crush?
I don't know. I don't know what
Yes,
that means.
we're all talking about the same Resident Evil.
We are
movie.
talking about the same one though. It is
Hell.
fucking dreadful, and I had such a good time with it.
How about the
God,
ending?
it's-
Good.
What
Yeah.
ending?
Wesker. The Wesker ending.
Wesker.
Oh,
Yeah,
with Ada. Yeah,
Yeah, that
fucking
ending was
hell.
a fucking fever dream, wasn't it?
It was.
I love that it. So I watched it on, I don't know, binge Netflix, wherever the fuck it is.
It's on Netflix, yeah.
I think it's Netflix, and it says like a faithful recreation from the games. That is so far from the truth.
What do you
Yeah,
mean? That's
so-
a faithful
so
Leon.
My
Oh
God.
my god, that is a bad film.
I was at the cinema
Yes.
with Nathan when we watched that, and I was not happy when we left at how
He was
fucking-
inconsolable. I was like, yeah, I had fun.
I had a good time with it.
Oh, it
They
is
ruined-
fun,
Mate, they
It
ruined
is-
our boy.
They really fucked up Leon.
Why is he so useless?
He's just
Like,
a
why is-
bitch.
Why is he so shit? Like he's terrible.
Mm.
I don't get it.
And the casting, of
Fuck.
it, I didn't appreciate the casting either.
I
Hmm.
like the casting a lot. That's a beautiful young man. Leon's a beautiful young man.
Look, I'm not gonna,
Do your hair, mate.
deny that.
Do do one of these.
The old-
little.
The old Leon.
Yeah,
Hey.
Yeah.
it takes all of like 10 seconds. Probably took more effort to get his like messy bob than it did to just yeah. Yeah, it's fucking bad. But
I'm looking forward to revisiting it. I'm currently rewatching all the Resident Evils with a mate, and we're saving that one for
Yeah.
last. I am.
I'd hate to
very
be your
excited.
friend.
Nah, it's a great time.
You gonna do the animated ones too?
No.
They are
Oh.
shite.
They're awesome.
I didn't
I've got those on
hate,
Blu-ray, mate.
What was the most recent one? Death Island or whatever.
Something like
I
that.
haven't
Yeah.
seen that one.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that.
the animation
Okay.
style is it makes me
It's
feel a
not
bit gross.
It's
bit
kind of like the
uncanny.
Clone Wars, where it's like I look at it, I'm like, I see what you're going for, but it makes me feel sick. So
To be
What did you
fair,
just say to me?
yeah.
I mean, I agree with James until they do the visual refresh in like season 3 of Clone Wars. Just as an aside,
I don't know.
they definitely fixed it.
We don't have
Okay.
time to get into the problems with Star Wars animation.
Okay, all right.
Zach, do you have an off topic?
I've got a couple.
yeah.
So I watched Alone, which is a horror film from 2020. This is the one about a
was
a
good.
girl who is I don't know, like she's moving across the country, and basically she
Which country?
across
Is she
America,
alone?
and this guy starts to stalk her, and then kidnaps her basically.
Oh.
Yeah, so
The
it was
end.
alright. I mean that's it kind of. I don't really understand the point. There was no kind of, unless I missed it, like why this was actually
Unless I
happening.
missed it. Oh, good.
So that was film one. The second one is I actually watched The Passenger, that film that I mentioned on the podcast last week.
Oh, okay.
Grim and dark as fuck. That film is not a film, not like an uplifting film. It's a very grim film. I liked it. Probably give it a 7.5. I thought the two main actors were very, very good. But again, I kind of didn't get. I didn't see a point. So this is the one where, if you've seen the trailer, like this is in the trailer. Basically, this guy shoots up this burger joint that he works at, and then but doesn't kill one of the guys, and then basically forces that guy to go on this trip with him, and then the kidnappee sort of tells this guy his problems or sort of like that, and then the crazy guy tries to fix him, kind of thing, and it just kind of escalates from there.
Two guys just being bros.
Yeah, but not. But like, yeah, I thought it was quite good, and yeah, like the main guy's got a little bit of James about him in terms of his looks. I think just a little bit, maybe like 5%.
Okay.
The burger joint.
Maybe not the burger joint, but
do you want to be passengered?
Tell me your problems.
I think that you would like it though. I think James, you would like it. Maybe Nathan as well. I think in terms, I think you'd find it was a worthwhile watch. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. And that was me.
All right. Good stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
I've been watching The Three Body Problem on Netflix. This is the Westworld team's new sci-fi adaptation based on a trilogy of books from a Chinese sci-fi writer, I believe.
I thought it was Weiss and Beanoff, the Game of Thrones guys.
Sorry?
I thought it was the Game of Thrones guys, Weiss and Beanoff.
Oh, it is them as well.
You're confusing them with Fallout? Fallout's got Jonathan Nolan.
Because I know that this is also got the Nolans on it.
Is that right?
Yeah, because the opening credits is like the Westworld credits again.
Oh shit! Okay, the Nolans are getting busy.
Almost.
Cool.
Yeah. It's held back by being a Netflix adaptation. It's got a bit of that look to it sometimes, despite all the money and talent that's gone into making this thing. But I'm having a really good time with it. I think I'm about 4 episodes in at the moment.
Same.
My understanding is that if you read the books, you don't love the show. So I'm happy I'm starting with the show. I'm going to have a good time. I've already ordered the first book. So, we'll see how we go. We'll check back in once I've finished.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of dark flavor to it, just ever so slightly. But I'm also a little bit worried that it's kind of lofty sci-fi storytelling may not pay off, because it's definitely indulging in some pretty big conceptual threads.
Very big swings. Yeah.
But I didn't mind the Netflix visual style too much. I thought it's fine.
Yeah. I think it's one of the better looking ones they've made for sure. Like, I think having that talent behind the camera helps quite a bit. Like, especially when you compare it to something like that Avatar sort of thing they did recently. It's night and day, at least. So
yeah, right. Hopefully it gets renewed.
Hopefully. Apparently they end like midway through book 2. So
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Anything
Nathan,
else?
got anything?
Yeah. Sony got me over to a special pre-screening of Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. I'm not I wouldn't call myself a Ghostbusters fan. Like, I've watched them, they're fine, they're enjoyable, whatever. Mixed feelings on this one. It kind of starts on a high, bringing the cast from Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was like a new cast of the series, into New York.
Is that the female one?
You kind of no, that one doesn't even factor in here. Not being rude or anything. That's just not a factor in this film.
Scrubbed from
pretends it doesn't exist.
Yeah, right. So there was sorry to be a bit dumb, but I'm not really a Ghostbusters person. But so there was the female one, and then there was another one since then.
There was one after that called Afterlife that was set in I'm gonna get this wrong, but Kansas or something. It was like rural. I didn't really like it. I just thought it was a really weird film to have the Ghostbusters moniker on it.
Good place for an RE game if it's rural. According to James.
Well, yeah, I guess that's one way to look at it. But it's, so they start kind of in media res, where the cast from Afterlife ghost busting. And it's fun, and the characters are trying to find their dynamic with one another, because obviously it's been a few years since that film, and they're trying to find their footing in New York, and where their place is as a kind of mixed family dynamic. They're a bit of a jumble. Paul Rudd is like one of the mainstays of that family casting. But then it kind of goes a bit downhill. So a bit about midway through, well, not midway through, but in the lead up to kind of the second act, they reintroduced Dan Aykroyd's Ghostbuster as kind of a main cast member, and that's kind of cool. He's kind of doing Dan Aykroyd in real life. That is, he's running a kind of like occult bullshit store, like a pawn shop, where he just gets people to bring him like occult bullshit, and he pretends that it's all spooky dooky. Kind of effectively doing what Dan Aykroyd does these days, pretending everything's spooky dooky to get $1. Now, fortunately, he's in this film and he's a part of the Ghostbusters franchise again, so maybe he'll stop being such a moron. And then they also bring in like Bill Murray every now and again, but they never explain why Bill Murray turns up or why he's there. Or it's really just like it's the biggest to the camera every time he turns up, which is really awkward. So the middle half kind of struggles to reconcile old Ghostbusters with new Ghostbusters, obviously being set in New York. This is the place where the Ghostbusters film's set. And there's a lot of like nostalgia and bringing old characters back in that. But they kind of appear, say a few short one-liners and then disappear till later on in the film. It's just a bit weird. And then as this is happening, the story that they tried to build up at the start with the family from Afterlife just dissipates. Like the characters just start doing all kinds of dumb shit and MacGuffins, and it just kind of falls apart. By the time you get to the last act, there's been almost no ghostbusting the entire film, just loads of really shitty character drama, and every character just doing really dumb shit to make the film go longer. And it ends in such a shitty climax that's effectively get everyone in a room and wink at the camera a bunch of times. It was just this really weird film where it struggled to reconcile the very much the desire for nostalgia with trying to do something new, and it failed at both. And I'm glad that like Sony sent me to see it for free, because I would never pay to watch it if I knew that's what it was. It's not a bad film. It's just as a Ghostbusters film, it's just really like caught between two cities. And you know, there's a couple of laughs to be had, but it's not. It's surprising. There's almost no ghost busting. It just spends so much time just spinning its wheels, trying to figure out what it's doing with these old and new characters as it tries to move the franchise forward.
Slimer in it.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see what happens next time, because I'm sure they'll be back, particularly after all this sowing of nostalgia.
Is Slimer in it?
Yeah, man.
Fucking ripper.
But that's another perfect example of what I'm talking about. Turns up, goes, and then you're like, yeah.
What's
It's definitely
the subtitle
like
of that movie?
Frozen Empire.
And what's the subtitle of the mouse game?
Whiskers of Winter.
There you go. Theme tonight.
We brought it
think
all
if you
together,
really-
boys.
I think if you really love Ghostbusters, you'll enjoy it. Like you'll have fun. It just won't be one of your favorites.
There you go.
All right, James, hit us with the 2000s film of the week, baby.
In the town of Greenfield, a young lonely girl's dreams and wishes are brought into reality by a collective of reality warping monsters.
Jesus Christ.
What the fuck?
Stardust?
No, it's an animated film.
It's an
Oh,
animated
fuck.
film.
Are we, okay,
Well,
when
Zach's
you
out.
when you say animated, are we talking like anime, or are we talking like Disney kind of thing, Pixar, whatever?
All right, I'll make it easier. Let's say that the monsters are pocket monsters.
It's not Digimon the movie.
Probably makes
No,
it
it's
harder.
not. Although it was almost Digimon the movie.
Pocket monsters.
Where is this set?
Yeah, like Pokemon. Like pocket monsters.
Oh, it's
Is this a
Pokemon.
Pokemon movie? You taking
It is
the piss?
it is a Pokemon movie. That's your
Fuck
only
me.
hint. I've led you to water. Now drink.
So how many of us here
Is it
have watched
Pokemon
more than
2000?
one?
It is not.
That's the
but
only
getting
one I know.
closer.
You missed a trick there, didn't you?
Didn't even know there was another Pokemon movie.
Bro, there's
There
like
are
15
five,
of
like-
them motherfuckers.
Is
Yeah.
it? Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's why he's giving us a hard one.
that's right.
Is
That's
it
right.
the second
Maybe two
Pokemon
of them.
film?
It is not, though you are getting closer.
Is it
Oh,
the third one?
really? Okay.
It is the third one. Anyone
knew
can
it.
tell me
How did you know,
the
Zach?
film's subtitle.
It's called Pokemon Whiskers of the Frozen Empire.
Close enough. Spell of the unknown. There you go.
James, what? Okay, now I feel vindicated in my weird picks, because that's going the extra mile.
Well, no, I won't tell you what it was originally going to be because I want to use that another time. So
Yeah, good.
Why
Believe it or
not use
not,
that this time?
Pokemon 2000 came out in 1999. That
I
feels
thought
like a
it
bit
did.
of a kick
I
in the
thought
dick.
it did. Yeah,
Isn't it?
yeah. I thought that was the
But
case.
that's the
James,
kind of-
why have you
movie.
picked-
But that's a bit like FIFA 24. FIFA
No, it's
25.
not.
No, it's
It's
not.
nothing like that.
No.
It's actually nothing like that.
It-
Turns
it-
out.
For a
Always comes
start,
out-
FIFA 24 doesn't exist, so
You know what I meant.
Oi, oi.
Fucking
I'm
hell.
being a bitch. I'm curious as to why James has picked this one specifically.
Yeah, come on, James. What's up?
I was gonna pick
random
another animated
generator.
movie, and then I ended up in a little IMDb hole, and saw
yeah.
that and thought, you know what, that's just obscure enough. It'll be a
Was it
problem.
Coraline?
No, I haven't seen Coraline.
Really?
No, neither.
No, I don't watch
Really?
things for
Fucking
kids.
Idiot.
I don't watch things.
Are you
Are
kidding
you watching
me?
Gundam?
Mate, you need some Coraline.
Comes
and
out with a
some
Pokemon film. I watch films for kids.
Yeah,
What's
Will-
the
Will Smith in your life. Will Smith Millennium.
was fucking all right? What was the subtitle of this movie? Pokemon what?
Pokemon the movie 3, Curse of the Unknown?
Oh yeah,
All right.
it's with yeah. Cool.
What's the RTs on that, baby?
Oh, I don't know. I've already closed the tab. Let's go home.
Fair enough. All right. Thank you for listening to this
don't
week's
think any
episode of the
critics
WellPlayed
watched it, mate.
DLC podcast. You can check out the content on www.well-played.com.au. God, you check out James's Stellar Blade preview. Maybe
Yeah.
Nathan's fucking Dragon Dogma 2 review. Dragon's Dogma 2 review, and Mark might have his couple of reviews up on the board for you to check out. Anything else we need to shout out? Probably not. Fuck yeah. All right, let's call it. And Adam, have a good time in the US.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
I'll see you.
Bye.
Come back
Travel
with an
safe.
American accent
I'll try my best.
or a Scottish
See
Can
how
you
we
try
go.
one now?
Absolutely not. There's no fucking chance.
Go
Bye
on.
all.
See ya, Adam.
Goodbye.
See ya.
It's got chicory in it. No one
Farewell.
likes that little cunt.